Hey, friends, and welcome back to the Untold story, where forgotten lives breathe again and the distant echoes of other worlds still whisper. Tonight, you're not just hearing a tale about the Navi, you're becoming one. One glowing breath, one braided bond, one silent step through sacred soil at a time. But before we connect to the spirit of Eywa, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you truly enjoy slow, immersive journeys to places where wonder still lives. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is there. It always amazes me how curiosity ties us together across continents, species, and galaxies. Now dim the lights. Let your breath slow. Maybe let a soft fan hum like the winds of Pandora. Let your eyes grow heavy and your spirit open. Your journey as a Navi begins now.
Waking up blue. You wake up, but nothing feels human. The air is thick, not with smog or city heat, but with scent, earthy, wet, alive. Something primal coils in your lungs, as though the forest itself has slithered inside and made a home. Your breath tastes like moss and the shimmer of something ancient. You try to move, but your body does not respond the way you remember. Your fingers are longer. Your skin is cool. Your arms hum, not with tiredness, but with electricity? No, with connection. Your hands tremble, blue and slender, ending in 5 live fingers. You hold them up to the light, and they catch the faint glow of bioluminescent spores floating down from the canopy above. You are glowing too, just slightly, like a heartbeat in your skin. You sit up. Around you is a nest of woven vines, soft moss, and curled feathers. Your bed. Your tail, yes, you have a tail, flicks slightly, brushing a soft fern that recoils with a gentle whimper. You hear the breath of the forest. Not wind, breath. Each tree exhales. Each leaf leans closer. You feel eyes on you, though you are alone. But alone here is never truly alone. Pandora watches and remembers. A rustle nearby. Something large moves through the brush, but leaves no damage behind. The world here has no wasted motion. Everything serves a purpose. Even you suspect. You stand, slowly. The ground is soft, spongy. It sighs beneath your feet. Your body, though unfamiliar, knows how to move here. Every motion feels learned and practiced by generations you cannot name. Your legs carry you forward, past mushroom-like stalks that pulse with blue light, beneath branches that bend toward you. Curious, you duck instinctively as a group of seed-like jellyfish drift past your head, soft, floating, alive. You catch one. It lands in your palm, weightless. It curls slightly toward your skin, as if tasting your soul. Eywa, you know that word now, without ever hearing it. You don't remember how you came here. Not exactly, but part of you always has been. Your reflection waits in a pool. You kneel, stare, and there you are, tall, blue, striped with light and shadow. Your eyes are not your own, golden, wide, unblinking. They hold questions you can't yet ask, and answers you're afraid to know. You're not wearing much. A simple loincloth, braided necklaces, armbands carved from bone and stone. On your shoulder, a faint white marking shaped like a hand. A child's hand. Maybe your own, maybe someone else's. Around your neck hangs a single tooth, bound in twine. It hums faintly, like it remembers pain. A sound above you, a call, long, hollow, musical. You know it, without knowing why. Someone is calling you, someone you once loved, or will love. Your ears flick instinctively, tracking the sound. Your tail follows, curling around a vine. Everything in your body is in motion. Even when still, you step through a curtain of drooping plants, into a small clearing. Other Gnostics are waiting. Some sit in silence, meditating. Others are painting faces. One is laughing with a child who's learning to climb a tree upside down. A woman with deep eyes offers you a fruit that smells like the color green. You bite it. It tastes like joy, like memory, like home you didn't know you missed. They welcome you not with words, but with touch, a hand to your chest, a shared glance, a song that begins low in someone's throat and spreads across the group like mist. And you know you are one of them now. Not human, not visitor, not outsider. Na6. As the light dims, the forest lights up. Tiny specks of bioluminescence awaken like stars in reverse, glowing from below, rising into the canopy. The trees don't just stand here. They listen. And tonight, so will you. Your guide gestures toward a towering tree wrapped in light, its roots sprawling like veins. The tree of voices. You'll sleep here tonight, not to rest, but to remember. Because tonight, Pandora will show you who you were, and who you've always been. The first bond, Sahelu and the breath of connection. You are not alone. Though the night clings softly to the forest like dew to moss, you feel movement, deliberate, silent, sacred. Shapes glide between trees, and voices hum in harmony with the forest breath. You sit by the tree of voices, knees folded beneath you, your back straight but soft. Tonight is your first bond, not just with another being, but with Pandora herself. They call it Sahelu, a word that means more than connection. It is a thread of being. The moment your soul weaves into another, the breath that is shared, not taken, the song you did not know you knew, but that you were born to sing. A Na6 elder sits beside you. Her skin is faded violet blue, and her braids carry small bones, beads, and leaves that whisper when she moves. Her voice is low, like thunder that never becomes a storm. You must listen with more than your ears, she says. Listen with your tail, your teeth, your memory. You nod, but you don't understand. Not yet. She gestures forward, and you rise. In a small clearing not far from the tree, several creatures wait. One of them shifts its long, elegant limbs and turns its head toward you. It is an Ikran, a mountain banshee. Sleek, dangerous, majestic, but that is not your path. Not tonight. Tonight, you are led to something smaller, gentler, a dire horse. It stands tall, with deep onyx eyes and tendrils that move independently, like strands of thought. Its 6 legs rise and fall in a rhythm older than language. When you approach, it snorts softly, not in fear, but curiosity. Your cue, your neural braid, twitches. You did not know it could do that. The elder steps back. Feel it, she says. Do not reach. Do not force. Just feel. Your heart thuds. You step closer. The dire horse leans in. You kneel, and then, slowly, carefully, you extend your braid. The fibers at the end of your cue writhe, gently, reaching, tasting, searching. And then, contact. The world splits open. Not violently, but like dawn, sudden, silent, stunning. You feel the dire horse. Not just its body, but its fear, its calm, its hunger, its memory. It remembers the time it almost drowned in the flooded marsh. It remembers a foal, its own, that never walked. It remembers cool wind and warm moss and the joy of running. And now it feels you, your confusion, your awe, your trembling need to belong. For a brief moment, there are no boundaries. Your heartbeat matches its own. Your vision splits and rejoins. Your breath is no longer yours alone. You whisper without words. And the dire horse answers without sound. The elder nods, watching from the edge of the clearing. You rise together, Na6 and creature, and the dire horse walks beside you, its movements mirroring your thoughts. With Sahelu formed, you ride without reins. It does not obey. It agrees. The two of you circle the tree of voices once, slowly, in a sacred loop of acknowledgement. Above, the stars of Pandora pulse faintly. The forest glows in response. You pass beneath a canopy where vines dangle like whispers. One brushes your forehead and leaves behind a drop of luminescent sap. You blink. In that moment, a memory not your own passes through your mind. A man, blue-skinned and broad-shouldered, shouting your name from the top of a cliff. A woman, smiling sadly, disappearing into the tree roots. Are they dreams or echoes? You return to the elder. The bond dissolves gently, without pain. The dire horse blinks once and walks away. The elder places one hand on your chest and says, "Now you begin." You want to ask what she means, but something inside you already knows. The forest shifts. The others return to their own rituals. You sit alone for a moment, your hand hovering over your braid, still tingling. Sahelu is not just for animals. Soon, you will make the bond with another Na-6, and then with Eywa. But not yet. For now, you lie back on the soft moss, eyes wide open. You feel something crawl across your chest, a line of glowing ants, marching in silence. You do not move. You are part of the forest now. It breathes through you, and it is only just beginning. Ritual paint, the touch of ancestors, and the naming of skin. The next morning, you do not wake to sound. You wake to touch. Fingers, cool and deliberate, draw across your skin, your forehead, your collarbone, your chest. Not in haste, not with ownership, but with ritual. You open your eyes. A woman sits beside you, silent. Her skin is lined with time, her braids threaded with bones of creatures you cannot name. She holds a small bowl in her hands. Inside, pigment the color of bloodroot and ash, ground from stone and berry and memory. She does not smile, but she is not unkind. You sit upright, and she begins. First, the forehead. A single line, drawn from the center of your hairline down, between your eyes. To see clearly, she murmurs, not just the world, but yourself. Then your chest. 2 curved marks, like wings folded inward. To protect the soul, she says, for it is soft and must fly carefully. She dips her fingers again, circles your navel, a spiral, for hunger, for longing, for remembering where you came from. The pain is cool at first, but as it dries, it warms, like the forest itself is watching you become. You do not know what you look like now, but you feel it. You feel named. Others sit nearby, undergoing the same rite, each marked different, each story unique. A boy your age is painted with jagged lines on his arms. He is quick, someone whispers. A young girl receives dots along her spine. She listens to the wind. You realize something. This is not about beauty. It is about truth. Your truth, spoken not in words, but in color and shape. When the painting is done, the elder places the bowl before you and waits. You take it, as you've seen the others do, and dip your fingers into the remaining pigment. It's your turn. You reach out, trembling slightly, and press your thumb to the elder's wrist. She nods. You leave behind a print, a smudge, really, but it is yours. You have given back. The moment is quiet, reverent. Somewhere above, a flock of iridescent birds spirals through the canopy like drifting petals. You feel them before you see them, because here, everything connects. Later, you are led to a pool, shallow and still, cradled in stone. The surface is like glass, but alive. You kneel again, look, and for the first time, you recognize yourself. Not just your face, but your story. Your paint glows softly in the dim light. The spiral over your stomach pulses gently, like it remembers hunger from a past life. The wing marks on your chest seem to move when you breathe. You touch your reflection. It ripples once, then settles. A voice calls from behind, a deep melodic chant. Others take up the rhythm. A drum begins, soft, slow, like a heartbeat before sleep. You are led in silence to the communal fire circle. Others are already there, seated in rings, their skin aglow with fresh paint and purpose. A storyteller begins to speak, not in words at first, but in gesture and breath. Her fingers shape animals in the air. Her eyes flicker like firelight. Her voice builds. She tells the old tales of the first Na-6, born from a seed that fell from a star, of the time the forest wept and the ancestors spoke through the birds, of Eywa, who is not a god, but a memory that remembers you back. You lean forward, completely still, because you feel it. These stories are not fiction. They are blood, yours. When the tale ends, the fire dims. One by one, the Na-6 lie back on mats of moss and vine, their faces toward the stars. You do the same. The paint dries fully now, flaking slightly where you smile. You close your eyes, but your mind stays awake just a little longer. You wonder how many others wore these same marks, long ago, and whether their stories live in your veins. You sleep, and the forest remembers you. Eywa's breath, the night of shared visions and ancient songs. You awaken in darkness, though you never fully remember falling asleep. The moss beneath your back is still warm, cradling your shape like it never let go. Overhead, the sky has turned from indigo to velvet black, pierced with the endless, breathing stars of Pandora. The fire has gone quiet, but not cold. Glowing embers pulse like the heartbeat of something ancient, something still watching, and around you, others stir. It is time. The night of Eywa's breath comes once in many moons. And when it does, the Nasics gather not to speak, but to listen. You rise silently, your painted skin now softly cracked and glowing like bark lit from within. A few flakes fall to the forest floor and vanish into the roots. You are led to the Tree of Souls. No one explains. No one needs to. You feel it in your chest, in the tingling threads of your braid, in the place behind your eyes where memories live. The tree stands taller than anything you've known. Its glowing tendrils pulse in slow waves, breathing, shimmering, listening. The roots stretch wide, curving like giant serpents that wrap around the clearing and disappear deep into the land. The air here is different, heavy with scent of wetwood, ancient blossoms, and something electric. One by one, the Nasics kneel. You follow, a guide, a woman with 3 long scars down her back and hands that look carved from bark, steps forward with a bowl of sap. She dips her fingers in and presses a dot of shimmering liquid to your forehead. It burns, but not painfully. It's the burn of waking, of remembering something you never lived. She whispers, Eywa sees all that is, all that was, all that could be. You are brought forward to the base of the tree. You hesitate, then reach back. Your braid twitches, pulses. You lift it gently, reverently, and touch it to the root. The moment of connection is like falling, not down, but inward. Your breath stops. Your eyes close. Your heartbeat slows. And the visions begin. You are not you anymore. You are a bird, gliding through clouds above the Hallelujah Mountains. Then you are a seedling, sprouting near the stream bed, feeling the warmth of twin suns on your first green leaf. Then you are a woman, Nasics, ancient, fierce, running barefoot to the forest, laughing as arrows fly behind you. You live entire lives in seconds. You see things you cannot describe. A sky that screams, a beast that sings, a moon that cracks like an egg and spills light, and voices, dozens, hundreds, speaking at once, none of them in words, yet all of them perfectly understood. They are your ancestors, and they are glad you're here. Somewhere in the vision, you feel your own body again. You are still kneeling, still breathing, but your hands are glowing. Your chest feels hollow and full all at once. You hear a song now, not sung aloud, but placed inside you. Its melody curls around your ribs, fills your lungs, coils behind your eyes. You hum it without knowing the notes. Others around you do the same. And for a few minutes, the entire gathering hums together, one endless sound, low, vibrating, filled with joy and grief and something sacred. You are not Nasics in forest and beast in tree. You are all of it. The vision begins to fade. You feel the slow retreat of Eywa's presence, not absence, but distance, as if the spirit has left a piece of itself inside you and taken a piece of you in return. You open your eyes. The stars haven't moved, but you have. The guide helps you rise. She does not speak. She only touches your shoulder and nods. You nod back, and as you walk back to the others, your feet light, your heart quiet, you hear someone whisper. Now, you've truly begun to hear. You lie down again beside the tree, this time on your side, hands over your chest where the song still lives. You do not fall asleep. Sleep falls into you, and somewhere deep inside the tree's roots, your voice joins the others, forever humming, forever remembered. The hunt, the howl, and the harmony of blood and breath. You awaken with your cheek pressed to the earth. Dew clings to your skin like cold breath, and the sun has not yet breached the horizon. Around you, the camp stirs, quiet as leaves and wind. The forest hums its low morning song, insects clicking in rhythm, distant thumps of wing beats, and a howl so faint you wonder if it came from inside your dream. Today is the day of the hunt, but not for sport, not for thrill. This hunt is sacred, a ritual of balance, of life and the gift that follows. You rise slowly. Beside you, your companion. Sulek, tall and silent, laces his bow with fibers drawn from the sinews of his first catch. His face is painted, not like a warrior, but like a wind shadow, dark across his cheeks, light at the tips of his ears. You paint your own marks, fingers dipping into ash mud and crushed beetle dye, across the bridge of your nose. 2 lines, on your arms, spirals to steady the breath. Because breath, today, is everything. Before the hunt begins, you kneel before the chanter. He holds a feather in one hand and a flute in the other. His eyes are clouded, but he sees more than most. He whispers, "What you take, you must carry, not just in your hands, but in your story." He presses a feather to your forehead. Remember the voice of what dies. Then the flute calls. 3 notes, low, high echo, and the hunt begins. The forest in the early light is a different world. Not quiet, but watching. Vines retract slightly as you pass. Some creatures peer out from hollow trunks, their eyes glowing like twin moons, then vanish again. Your bare feet know where to step and where not to. You breathe through your nose. Deep, steady. Sulek gestures, 2 fingers up, 1 down. Yerrick, you see it now, just beyond a spray of purple leaf ferns. It grazes, alert but calm. Its antlers shimmer like twisted coral. Its breath fogs in the cool air. Your bow is ready, but your fingers hesitate, because to kill is not simple, even when necessary, especially when sacred. Sulek touches your wrist. He nods once, then looks away. This is your moment. You rise barely. Breathe in, then out, then again. Release. The arrow flies, not fast, but true. The Yerrick stumbles. It does not cry out. It lowers itself, slowly, folding its limbs like prayer. You run to it. Kneel. Place your hand on its chest. Its heart still flutters, weak, fading. You whisper, "I see you." Its eyes find yours. Then close. The breath stops. You do not cheer. You bow. Sulek helps you prepare the body. You do not waste. Nothing is discarded. The bones will be carved into tools and flutes. The hide will wrap infants and warm elders. The meat will feed the circle. And the blood is offered back. You dig a small hollow in the earth, pour a measure into it, cover it again. You whisper, "Thank you." Sulek presses his forehead to the Yerrick's flank. "We carry you." When you return, the camp gathers. There is no applause. There is song. Low, haunting, ancient. You kneel beside the fire. The chanter burns herbs in your honor, leaves that make the eyes sting and the soul settle. The smoke curls into stars that now peek through the canopy. Then, the elder approaches. In her hands, a shard of polished shell. She dips in the Yerrick's blood and draws a symbol on your upper arm, a shape that means balance keeper. It stings, but you do not flinch. You have joined a rhythm older than language. You have taken, you have given, and now you must carry. Later, when the fire burns low and the stories are done, Sulek sits beside you. He offers you a small piece of carved antler, half of a circle. He keeps the other half. No words are spoken. None are needed. You hold it in your hand until you fall asleep. And as the night enfolds you, the howl returns. Louder now, not a threat, but a welcome. You are hunter. But more importantly, you are part of the harmony. The love rite, eyes that speak, hands that ask, and the bonding of souls. The next evening, the air tastes different, heavier with pollen, thick with the perfume of blooming Ikran's bane flowers and the tang of ripe silkwater fruit. A hush falls over the village, but it is not silence. It is anticipation, reverence, a collective breath drawn and held. Tonight is the tsaik weaving, what the Nasiks call the rite of eyes and hands. To outsiders, it is courtship. To you, it is something deeper. bonding, not merely of body, but of memory, of intention, of future. You are not alone tonight. She sits across from you, back straight, eyes unblinking in the fire's glow. Her skin is marked with fresh charcoal, a symbol of journey above her brow, and one of open heart on her collarbone. Her fingers are stained with blue dye, not yet washed clean. You've seen her before, countless times in the circle in the hunt beneath the tree, but tonight you see her differently. And more importantly, she sees you. The ritual begins with silence. No one speaks. The entire circle watches, not with judgment, but with memory, because they have all done this too. An elder steps forward and places between you a small, shallow bowl filled with glowing sap. I was witness. You place your hand beside it. So does she, but you do not touch. Not yet. The Tsaik, the spiritual mother of your people, steps into the light. Her hair is long, tied with threads from dozens of unions she's overseen. She holds a thin branch of woven fibers, one end frayed, one end sharp. She speaks softly. Your hands may wish, but your hearts must answer. You bow your head. So does she. Then the Tsaik nods. You may begin. Your hands move first, slowly, openly, palm facing up. She places her hand just above yours, not touching, hovering. Her fingers tremble slightly. You don't look away. Not once, because the eyes ask the question, and the hands answer. One finger brushes against yours. You exhale. She presses her palm fully into yours. The warmth is not physical, it's so deep. Something inside you leans forward, like a tree towards sunlight. Now the words, not spoken aloud, but shared through touch. You trace a spiral in her palm. I see you. She draws a small triangle in yours, and I choose to be seen. You tap once on her wrist. Will you walk with me? She taps twice on yours. Wherever your path leads. The watchers begin to hum, softly, deeply, like a lullaby from the earth itself. The fire crackles. The sap in the bowl glows brighter. Then, at last, your braids meet. The neural cue, Yurtsahilu, unfolds like a flower, slowly seeking connection. You've done this before, with animals, with the tree. But this is different. This bond hums not with instinct, but with recognition. When your cues intertwine, you feel her breath inside your own chest. You see flashes, her first hunt, the moment she learned to swim, the ache she felt when her sister joined Eywa. She sees you too, your fear, your longing, your wonder. Nothing is hidden, and nothing is lost. You do not cry, but you do feel something unshakable settle into your bones. The Tsaik steps forward and dips the woven branch into the glowing sap. She lifts it above your heads and draws a circle of light around you both. Then she says, two voices, now one. The watchers echo it softly. Two voices, now one. And in that moment, all things feel still. The wind stops. The leaves wait. Even the insects quiet. Afterward, you walk with her. No words, just shared breath. Into the night forest. Not toward home. Toward the place where roots not like old hands and fireflies never blink. She places her head on your shoulder. You place your hand over hers. There is no need to speak. You are bonded now, and the bond is not loud. It is not fire. It is the hum beneath everything. The rhythm of breath, the echo of heartbeat, the long, slow pulse of something sacred, something soft, that you now carry together. When sky falls, fire from above and the memory of fear. You were very young when the sky first screamed. Too young to understand the sound. Too young to know the difference between thunder and engines. But old enough to remember the way every adult froze. How your mother's hand tightened around yours. How your uncle dropped the firewood and whispered, "They've come again." The memory lives in your bones like cold. The Nasics do not fear lightly. But that night, they did. The first light wasn't sunrise. It was fire, falling from above, searing lines in the air like angry comets. The forest beneath didn't have time to whisper goodbye. Trees exploded into flame. Birds scattered like ashes. Animals screamed in confusion. And the sky turned red. You watched it all from a ledge above the river, clutching your mother's woven belt with both fists. Around you, other children cried, but quietly. The adults had taught them well. No sound, no light, no movement, only watching and waiting. The machines landed beyond the trees. Their voices were low and metallic, like bones grinding in stone mouths. You remember seeing them, small, shiny, heavy-footed creatures that move with strange purpose. They smelled like poison. They touched nothing with reverence. And when they walked, the ground forgot its own name. They brought no greeting, only blades and flame, and the strange hum of something called progress. Your people hid in the roots of the grandfather trees for days. You drank dew from leaves, ate strips of dried fruit in silence. The tzaddik wept while she prayed, not out of fear, but grief. They do not hear, she whispered. They've forgotten how. And when she pressed her hand to the tree's heart root, it shuddered. You saw it. You'll never forget. Eywa wept that night, through the rains that followed, not to put out the fire, but to mourn what had already been lost. Eventually, the fires died, but the scars remained. On the earth, on your people, on you. When you walk that stretch of forest now, it doesn't sing the same. The roots don't rise as tall. The birds avoid the trees that grew from scorched ground. The silence feels taut, watchful, holding its breath. But something else happened too. The elders began to remember the old warnings, the legends that spoke of star walkers and sky takers, of those who came before Eywa's first whisper, of a time when the stars weren't blessings, but warnings. You were taught those stories not as myth, but as preparation, because the sky always remembers how to fall. One night, much later, you asked the tzaddik a question. Will they come again? She did not answer immediately. She laid her hand on your shoulder and looked at the stars. Then she said, yes. You felt something in your chest tighten. Then she added, but so will we. You did not understand what she meant. Until you were older, until you stood where she once stood, until you learned that the most sacred vow a Gnostic can make is not to protect peace, but to protect the possibility of peace. Years later, you find yourself walking the old burned path again. The moss has grown back, slowly, stubbornly. Vines reach up like fingers, reclaiming what was taken. You kneel and place your hand on a rock still blackened with soot. It's warm, not from sun, from memory. You close your eyes and speak aloud. I see you, to the trees, to the birds that never returned, to the ones who came, and the ones who resisted. And somewhere, deep in the ground, you feel a pulse. The forest remembers. So, do you? Night falls again. This time, without fire, the wind returns. The sky is clear. And overhead, the stars blink, not in warning, but in witness. Your children ask you about the scars in the stone. You tell them the truth, not to make them afraid, but to help them listen. Because some echoes are not curses. They are calls. And the Gnostics never stop answering. The tides of healing, salt pools, story stones, and what the ancestors leave behind. You arrive just before dawn, where the cliffs dip and the river widens into something calmer than a lake, deeper than a song. Here, the land breathes differently, not in the gasping rush of the canopy, but in slow exhales of salt and time. The pools here are sacred, not because they're hidden, but because they remember. They are warm from the belly of Eywa, and even the wind moves softer near their edge. You are not alone. No one comes to the salt pools for solitude. You come to be held, to shed, to listen. Your sister waits by the water, her braid tied in morning gray. She has not spoken in 3 moons, not since the accident at the glider nests. She brings with her a stone, small, smooth, flat, black as night, but with flecks of green when the sun catches it. It is her story stone. It carries the grief she cannot speak, and she's ready to place it here, where the ancestors hum beneath the surface. You walk beside her. Say nothing. That is the first rule of healing. Let silence arrive before speech. The 2 of you step into the water. It is warm, alive. Tiny currents swirl around your ankles as though curious. The salt stings old cuts you didn't realize you had. She kneels, places a stone on her tongue for a brief moment, just long enough to share breath. Then she whispers her brother's name into it and gently lets it go. The stone sinks slowly, disappears into the silt where thousands of others lie in quiet communion. You feel a soft pressure in your chest, like someone just exhaled inside your bones. The pool has accepted it. There are no funerals here, only this, a ritual older than fire. No tears are demanded, but if they come, the water takes them too. Your sister does not cry. She breathes deeply, as if the grief has loosened, uncoiled, made room. You splash a small arc of water over her shoulders. A cleansing. She does the same for you, not because you are mourning, but because all are carrying something, and no one leaves the salt pools untouched. Later, you step onto the sun-warmed rock ledge where the elders wait. They wear white bands and carry reed brushes dipped in oil. One by one, they paint your feet. Simple strokes, spiral patterns, downward arrows. These are returning marks, not for the path you walked to get here, but for the path you walk leaving. You look down and smile. Your feet do not look different, but they feel older, wiser, ready. That evening, you sit around the fire with others who return from the pools. No one speaks of what was left behind. That would undo the leaving. Instead, you tell different stories. Of first hunts, of favorite fruits, of the time a wild hexapede snuck into camp and nuzzled at Sykes' hair. Laughter peals through the air like a songbird startled from a branch. Your sister laughs too. It's her first in many days. You close your eyes. The sound rests easy in your ears. As the fire dims, the Tsai pulls out a pouch of smooth, glistening stones. Each one once carried a story. Now they're reminders. She places one in your palm. It's warm, lighter than expected. You'll know when to let it go, she says. You nod. Not today, but someday, when something needs to return to silence. Before sleep, you return to the edge of the pool. The wind has shifted. You see ripples on the water, gentle, playful. You kneel and whisper, not a name, not a memory, just thanks. Because healing is not forgetting, it is remembering differently. And in the hush of that salt-scented air, with the stars blinking down like ancient witnesses, you realize something simple and profound. The pain did not leave, but it no longer leads. And that is enough for now. The bonded beasts, flight, fury, and the first time you touched the sky, you were shaking. Not from fear, not exactly, but from something deeper. Anticipation, maybe, or awe, or the sudden realization that after this moment, you would never again be just yourself. You stood at the edge of the cliff, the wind whipping through your hair like a river, refusing to be tamed. Below, the world dropped into a maze of floating vines and jagged stone. Above, the Ikran circled, bright, sharp, alive, and angry. Your heart thudded like a war drum. This was the day. Your day to bond, to fly, to become more. The ritual began with silence, as most sacred things do. Your teacher, a rider with gray streaks in his braid and scars down both arms, spoke softly. No songs, no prayers. The bond must be earned. You nodded, tried not to show your trembling. He gestured a path ahead, a narrow, winding trail of stone and root that led up, always up, to the roosting cliffs. Go, and do not run. Walk like you belong. You did. You walked like your feet knew the stone, even as your mind screamed with doubt. At the top, they waited. Ikrans, wings folded, eyes narrowed, tails twitching in slow, lethal arcs. One turned its head at your approach. Another hissed, low and guttural. They watched you like a puzzle, like prey, like potential. You were not allowed to choose. One would choose you. You stood still. You breathed. And then it happened. A blur of green and gold and fury lunged from the shadows, jaws snapping. You ducked barely. It circled, growling, daring you to flinch. You didn't. You met its gaze. You stepped forward. The Ikran roared. You roared back. The other riders hooped from below, but you didn't hear them. Not really. It was just you and the beast. And the moment you reached out, slowly, deliberately, your braid came forward, alive with instinct. The Ikran's cue flared, spitting sparks of biolight. You hesitated for only a breath. Then connection. A jolt, like lightning, like heat, like memory. You saw flashes, its first fall from the nest, the storm it rode through, the predator it defeated, the taste of blood and freedom. It saw you, and it let you in. Everything changed. Your heart slowed, then quickened, in rhythm with another. Your balance shifted, not lost, but expanded. You didn't stand alone now. You stood with wings. The Ikran moved closer, pressed its head against your shoulder. You touched its jaw gently. It huffed, almost a purr. Almost. You whispered its name, not the one others would hear, but the one that bloomed in your chest the moment your cues linked. It responded, and the bond was sealed. Your teacher appeared beside you. He didn't smile. Not exactly, but his eyes were warm. Now fly? The cliff felt taller now, the wind fiercer. You climbed onto your Ikran's back. It shifted, impatient. You tightened your grip on the saddle cords. You breathed once, twice. Then you leapt. For half a heartbeat, there was only the fall. Then wings. Your stomach dropped. Your soul rose. The air screamed past your ears as you and your beast plunged, twisted, then soared, upward, sideways, into a sky so bright it burned. You laughed. The Ikran shrieked in joy. You rolled left, then dove, then rose again like a star born out of wind. You forgot the ground. You forgot your name. You were only speed, and color, and freedom. Later, after the sun dipped low and the sky blushed purple, you landed on a high plateau. You dismounted. Your legs shook again, but not from fear, from wonder. The Ikran nudged you. You patted its head. It nipped at your braid. You sat beside it, watching the clouds change shapes. Somewhere far below, someone lit a fire, but you stayed in the sky a little longer. Because once you've flown, truly flown, nothing on the ground ever feels quite the same. The first hunt, blood, mercy, and what the forest demands. The first hunt is not about hunger. It is not about pride or trophies or proving yourself. It is about one question, whispered through every leaf, echoed in every breath. Can you take a life and still belong to life? You wait before the moons have set. The forest hums with anticipation. Not for you, but for the balance it's about to lose and reclaim. Your mentor places a hand on your chest and murmurs the right. You are not the predator. You are the moment, the space between life and after. You carry only a bow and a knife. And something heavier, the knowledge that tonight, something sacred will die, and you must be the one to end it. The forest is different at this hour. Not quieter, just older. You step with care, weaving between trunks like a shadow made of breath. The moss remembers every footfall. The vines sway not in wind, but in warning. Your companion this night is a Tsko Swelu, a lean, silent stalker with eyes like polished amber. She does not follow you. She waits ahead, teaching you that true predators are not fast, they are patient. And you must be, too. You see it before it sees you. A hexapede, young, healthy, blue hide shimmering under moonlight. Its 6 legs dancing through ferns with the grace of something unaware of danger. You raise your bow, but your fingers hesitate. Not because of fear, but because this is not a kill. It is a conversation. And the first word is breath. You knock the arrow, whisper a prayer to Eywa, and release. The arrow flies, strikes clean. The hexapede stumbles, collapses. Its eyes find yours, and everything slows. You rush forward. Kneel. Your hands move with ritual memory. Quick, steady, reverent. You place your braid against its own, forming the Tsahalu, the final bond. You feel its heart slow. Feel its last thoughts, not in words, but in colors and warmth, in the echo of movement now stilled. And then stillness. You do not rise immediately. You stay, kneeling, hands upon its flank. until the last warmth fades. Then, softly, you speak the goodbye. I see you. I thank you. Your spirit returns to Eywa, and from the forest around you, something unseen exhales. You have passed the test, but you do not feel victorious, only changed. The elders meet you at dawn. They do not cheer. They do not clap your back. They only listen as you speak the name of what you took, the weight of its breath, the light in its eyes, the way the moss curve around its body like a cradle. You speak until the silence returns. Then, one by one, the elders place beads in your braid, red for courage, green for memory, white for reverence. The side places one final bead, black. It is not for death. It is for balance. Later, you clean the hide. Sing the skin-softening song your grandmother taught you. Every part of the animal is used. Its bones become tools. Its sinew, string. Its meat, nourishment. Its story, now part of yours. You do not waste. You do not forget. Even as the scent of fire and cooked flesh fills the air, you eat slowly, mindfully, each bite a reminder. That night, under a canopy of stars, you dream, not of the hunt, but of the moment after, the silence that followed the kill. And in your dream, the hexapede walks beside you, not angry, not afraid, but watching, always watching, because now it sees you too. Trials of the body, endurance, ritual pain, and the rite of the flame ants. You do not walk into this willingly. No one does. You are called, some by the dream of an ancestor, some by a fever that won't break until fire spirits are satisfied. Others, like you, are chosen by the Tsaik, who touches your shoulder in the middle of the night and whispers, "It is time. Time for the fire to know you. Time for the body to forget comfort. Time for pain to become a prayer." They lead you to a grove where no birds sing, only drums. The sound is low and slow at first, like breath held in, but with every step, it grows louder, deeper, until it's no longer rhythm but pulse. In the center of the grove sits a hollowed tree, blackened at the roots. Around it, 7 fire pits crackle with blue flame. Beside each pit stands a masked elder, holding a bundle of cloth, soaked and ready. Your limbs are painted in red clay. A symbol is marked across your chest in ash. 3 downward lines for endurance, humility, and surrender. You kneel and wait. The flame ants arrive not in swarms, but in ceremony. Tiny, shimmering, terrible, they are gathered by the elders from deep forest nests, carried in baskets carved from crystal bark. Their venom is not fatal, but it burns with memory of lightning. One sting could drop a warrior to their knees. You will wear dozens, possibly hundreds, and you will not scream. That is the rule, not for honor, not for pride, but because silence is a doorway through which pain becomes transformation. You are told to place your arms into the woven sleeves. They are soaked in tree sap and bloodroot, stitched with tiny living chambers designed to hold the ants. The elders tie the sleeves tightly. You feel the first bite before the knot is even finished. It is sharp, hot, blinding. Then another, and another. Your teeth clench. Your eyes water. The world narrows to the size of your arms. Then to your heartbeat. Then to the pain. It is not a test of strength. It is a test of surrender. You must feel everything and resist nothing. That is the lesson. To become Gnostics is not to overcome pain, but to become one with it. You sit like that for an hour, or perhaps forever. The drumbeat is inside you now. The fire is your spine. Your breath is smoke. Your limbs tremble. Your thoughts blur. But you remain. Not a word. Not a sound. Only breath. Then something changes. The pain shifts. It doesn't leave. But it grows familiar. Not softer, just known. The fire inside you stops roaring and starts listening. It asks, "Who are you now that you burned?" And in the silent dark of your body, something answers, "I am not flesh. I am not fear. I am what survives." When the elders untie the sleeves, your skin is swollen, red, raw. You cannot move your fingers. You don't need to. One of them places a cool salve of moon sap on your wrists. Another lifts your chin and looks into your eyes, not to see if you're strong, but to see if you're changed. They nod, and the drums stop. That night, you do not sleep. You lie beneath the stars, arms throbbing, skin radiating heat. But inside, a stillness you have never known. No fear, no doubt, only space. You will carry the scars, but also the silence, the memory of what you endured and what you became. And when younger Nas asks what the pain felt like, you'll smile, not in cruelty, but in memory, and say, "It taught me who I was, when there was nothing left to hold on to." Union or breath. First love beneath the bioluminescent sky. You don't remember how the night began, only that it was already glowing, not just from the fungi in the trees or the soft pulse of the moss beneath your bare feet, but from something in the air, something in you. The rite of trials was behind you now. The pain, the silence, the fire ants, the hunger, they had all faded into memory. Your skin still bore the marks, but your spirit was quiet and ready. You were no longer a learner. You were a being, whole, seen and seen by another. They were waiting for you at the spirit glade, not waiting in impatient sense, but in the way a tree waits for the sun. Open, still, certain you would come. You had known each other since you were small, played among the roots of the tree of voices, swapped daring glances while weaving feather cords, whispered secrets when the elders weren't listening. But tonight, the glances were not playful. The silence was not empty. Tonight was not about childhood. It was about choice and becoming one. They took your hand without words and led you to the glowing grass, past the willow-like vines that shimmered with whispering lights. Around you, the forest was alive with quiet applause. Fireflies swirled, blossoms opened at your steps. The wind hummed to the canopy like a blessing. Every color seemed deeper, every sound sacred. You stopped at the sacred pool. Its surface glowed violet blue, reflecting the sky and your shared breath. You knelt together and waited, not for permission, but for presence. Then you reached, not just physically, but spiritually. Your cues moved with a will of their own, sensing, seeking, slowly intertwining until you both gasped, quietly, reverently, as the Tahilu formed. Not just a bond, but the bond. And suddenly you felt them, not thoughts or memories, but sensations, rhythm, fear, hope, wonder, a flood of emotions that didn't drown, but carried you somewhere warmer. They were looking at you, but from inside, you were looking at yourself. Through their soul, there were no words for it, only being. Time slipped. You sat still yet drifted. You felt the pulse of their heart, the shape of their laughter, the ache of their past, and the gentle reaching of their love, not forced, not earned, not declared, just given. There was no shame, no fear, only knowing. Your hands explored not with hunger, but with wonder, the curve of a jaw, the line of a scar, the soft trembling of shoulders that had carried stories they'd never told until now. When you moved together, it was slow, sacred, not like the humans described, not like their movies. There was no performance here, no climax, only melding, only breath shared, only trust, like a vine wrapping a tree without choking it. You held each other as the stars shifted above, and when you came apart, physically, you remained joined. Emotionally, spiritually, energetically, the bond was not broken. It simply rested, like a tide pulling back, not retreating, but preparing to return. Later, you lay side by side on a bed of softly breathing moss. The sky wept silverlight, and they whispered one word, "I see you." Not, "I love you." Not, "You're mine," but something deeper. And when you replied, you meant every breath of it. "I see you." And you did. As sleep drifted in, you felt the forest listening, not watching like a voyeur, but honoring. This was not lust. This was union, not between two bodies, but between two beings, made whole not by possession, but by presence. You slept with a smile still in your chest, and a soft hum of connection still in your mind, the kind that would last for as long as the stars chose to shine. ancestors in the mist, dreams, spirits, and the memory grove. You awaken before the sun, but the light that wakes you isn't the sky. It's inside you, a flicker of a dream still clinging to your mind, like dew clings to the underside of a leaf. In it, someone called your name, not the name your friends use, not the one your mother whispers, but the old one, the one that has no sound, only memory. A name that felt like earth and thunder and wind caught in bone. You sit up slowly. The dream hasn't left, and neither has the calling. You walk alone, barefoot, no armor, no blade, just your spirit and the dust of those who came before. The path to the memory grove is never the same twice. The forest rearranges itself for each soul who seeks it. Your way winds through vine curtains and past trees that hum like distant choirs. The mist thickens with every step. It's not cold, not warm. It just is the kind of air that holds breath like secrets. Then the trees open, and you are there. The grove is a circle of ancient trees, their bark silver by time, their roots woven together like a braid that holds the forest's pulse. At the center is a pool, still, dark, endless. No fish swim in it. No leaves float across its surface. It is too sacred for movement. And around the edge of the grove, stones carved with names, none of which you recognize, and yet all of them feel like yours. You sit and wait. The mist deepens, curls around your skin, and then something steps through it. Not a being, not quite. A shape, a shimmer, a presence. It has your eyes, but older, your posture, but lighter. It smiles without lips, speaks without voice, breathes without lungs. And yet you know them, your great-grandparent, perhaps, or a warrior whose blood now runs in your own. You bow your head and speak the greeting. I see you. The spirit nods, not in approval, but in remembrance. You touch your braid to the water, and the Tehillu is made not with flesh, but with time itself. 1,000 memories flood your mind. You see battles you never fought, storms you never felt, loves you never kissed, but somehow remember. Your hands tremble, not in fear, but in awe. You are not just you. You are all who came before you. They walk beside you now, not to guide, but to witness. You ask no questions. The answers are already in your blood. Instead, you just sit together in silence. You learn the weight of your legacy, not as burden, but as anchor. You are not lost. You are placed, rooted in time, braided into eternity. Before the spirit fades, they place their hand over your heart. Not physically, but you feel it. They don't speak. But somehow, you hear, live in a way that remembers us. And then they are gone. The mist lifts. The grove grows quiet. But not empty. Never empty. When you walk back through the forest, everything looks different. The leaves brighter. The soil softer. Even your own hands seem wiser. Because now you carry them. In your breath, in your step, in the way you pause before speaking, remembering a voice that no longer needs sound. You return to your people, but you are not alone. You never were. The sky trial, Ikran wind, and the leap of becoming. There's a phrase whispered among your people when someone stands at the edge of transformation. The sky does not wait, and this morning neither do you. The memory of the grove still hums in your bones, but today is different, heavier, sharper, a day not for reflection, but for flight. You rise before the first light, face painted in streaks of coal and clay, your feet silent on the forest floor. Every elder who has walked this path before you has done the same, alone, quiet, ready. This is not a hunt. This is a reckoning. The journey to the Hallelujah Cliffs takes most of the day. First, you pass to the Valley of Echoes, where the wind bends voices into stories you swear you've never spoken. Then the trees thin and the sky opens, impossibly vast, impossibly close. Ahead, the cliffs rise like the ribs of Eywa herself, pierced by waterfalls and ringed with cloud. Floating mountains hover in the near distance, their undersides glowing faintly with bioluminescent moss. And there at the highest ledge waits the trial, the rite of Iknamaya, the bond of flight, the choosing of your Ikran. The air is thinner here. You can feel it in your chest, like nerves press against bone. The other initiates have already gathered. None speak, not out of fear, but because words cannot help you now. An elder Tsaik steps forward. Her eyes are like polished stone. She wears feathers from her own Ikran, long since passed. She marks your forehead with a drop of fermented root, then simply nods. You step forward alone. The canyon is alive with wind. Your breath is shallow. Your feet grip the rock. And then, the roar. Your Ikran appears in a rush of wings and rage, emerald and obsidian, with talons that scrape stone like thunder. Its eyes lock onto yours, narrow with wild defiance. It does not want you. That is the point. This is not a pet, not a prize. The Ikran must choose you, but only after you have proven yourself worthy of death in its presence. It lunges. You duck, roll, press low against the cliff wall. Your braid whips over your shoulder as you leap sideways, landing with a grunt. You hiss, not from pain, but from will, from challenge. And something changes. It pauses, circles, watching, waiting. Then you leap, straight at its chest. It roars as your hands grip the neck ridges, sliding, slipping, until your cue meets its neural tendrils. Sahilu, connection, pain, lightning. It screams into your mind. You scream back, and then, just like that, it quiets. You are one. The wind becomes a song. Its wings unfurl beneath you. You grip tight to the flight harness, press your chest to its spine, and together, you leap. The world falls away. Not down, but outward. Air rushes against your face. The valley spins. Clouds part. And for the first time in your life, you are not held by earth. You are held by will, by choice, by the bond you now share with this fierce, wild spirit who tried to kill you and now trusts you to fly. You cry out, not in fear, but in joy. You dive through cloud banks, skim the tops of trees, race the other new riders until your lungs ache from laughing. You loop once, twice, then land rough but upright as the elders cheer. Your Ikran stamps the stone, its wings folding against its sides. You dismount, legs shaking, but not from fear, from awe. You did not just pass the trial. You became sky. Tonight, you will sleep beside your Ikran in the high roosts. You will whisper your name to it, not your spoken name, but your sky name, and it will remember, because now it carries you not as cargo, but as kin, war songs and warnings, the drums of the sky people. The wind has changed. You feel it first in your chest, not your skin. A strange tightness, a shift in the way birds pause between songs, in how even the insects hum less often. The jungle isn't quiet, but it's listening. And listening in Pandora is always the first sign that something is wrong. You sit in a high roost beside your Ikran, who flutters uneasily, no longer restless, but alert. Wings twitch, eyes fixed to the south, and then you hear it, not thunder, not the cries of predators, but a low, pulsing growl that rises from the sky like sickness, a sound you hope never to hear again. Engines, the sky people have returned. Their ships are slower this time, but wider, less curious, more armored. The forest recoils, leaves close, vines twist, even the glowing fungi dim as if the very soil wishes to vanish. You race down from the cliffs on the back of your Ikran, heart pounding, tail stiff with fear. The elders already gather. War drums thump low and steady, not in panic, but in warning. The last time they came, trees fell like matchsticks. The last time, blood seeped into sacred roots. This time, they say it's different, but you do not believe them. They come not in peace, but in pieces. Machines the size of homes, towers that claw at the canopy, drones that scan the underbrush, emitting cold blue light that smells like plastic and ozone. They bring gifts, words, smiles with teeth behind them, and promises, always promises. We want to learn. We want to coexist. But you have learned their dialect before. You know that coexist means colonize, and learn means take. A meeting is called. At the base of the Tree of Voices, the clan gathers in concentric circles of stone and silence. The Tsaik speaks first. Her voice carries, calm but cold. They return not because they miss Eywa, but because they cannot live without what she provides. You feel the eyes of the children on you, the youngest, too young to remember the last Sky War, their curiosity untainted by loss. You envy them and pity them. A warrior beside you sharpens a blade with stone. Slowly, deliberately. It is not the sound of readiness. It is the sound of resolve. You fly out to scout. The landscape already bears scars. A stream rerouted by bulldozers. A nesting cliff flattened for a landing pad. You land silently beneath a canopy near the outpost. Crawl through roots and shadow. You see them, exosuits stomping like metal beasts, voices barking orders in a language that breaks the quiet. A human child walks beside a soldier. The child is pointing, laughing, holding a glowing flower in their hand. And for a moment, only a moment, you feel the wrong kind of hope. What if this one learns to listen? What if one seed could grow without poison? But the soldier picks the flower, crushes it, laughs. The child looks away. And so, do you? Back at home, war songs begin again. Not the chants of anger, but of remembrance. Low notes, old rhythms. They echo across the valley at dusk, shaking the air like heartbeat thunder. You join them, drum in hand. Each beat is not about hatred. It is about protection, not just of your people, but of the silence, of the roots, of the light that glows without reason. You drum until your palms blister. You drum until the stars rise. You drum because words are no longer enough. When the music ends, the air is thick with choice. Some elders argue for retreat, others for attack. But the Tsaik says only this: we do not begin war, but we remember how to end one. And the memory runs deep. You mount your Ikran again, feeling the weight of possibility pressing into your spine. Because the war drums are not just warnings anymore. They are answers. And soon, the forest will answer back. The last light of home, sacrifice, harmony, and the dreaming tree. There's a light only seen at the end of all things. It is not bright. It does not blind. It is soft, steady like the glow of a plant when you whisper your name to it, like the breath of a loved one, resting after battle. It is a light of something ancient folding in on itself. And tonight, that light spills across the forest floor in long golden ribbons. You follow it barefoot, without weapon or war paint, toward the place where the forest ends and something greater begins. The Sky People came, not in peace, not in war, but in panic. Their world, they said, was dying. Their air was too thin. Their soil turned to dust. They came not to conquer, but to survive. And even still, they could not help but destroy. You saw fire rain on the canopy. You saw roots torn from the earth. You heard the final cries of the crimson banshee as it fell burning through cloud. You also saw your own people fall. A brother, a teacher, the elder who once carved your necklace from river stone. Gone, now part of the breath of Eywa. And yet, amid the ash and loss, something bloomed. A child human-born stepped between fire and tree, cried not for safety, but for forgiveness, offered no weapons, only seeds. You watched as they planted one at the base of the Tree of Souls, then another, and another, and the roots accepted them, not because of who they were, but because of who they chose to become. You kneel now at the dreaming tree. It is not as old as the Tree of Souls, but it is sacred because it remembers this moment, where choice bent away from vengeance toward healing. You reach out your cue and connect. Sahilu, but it feels different this time. Lighter, like catching the memory of a song in the wind. The tree shares visions, not a battle, but a becoming, of two worlds trying to weave one future, of whispers crossing stars, of Nasiks and human hands building together. Not towers, but trust. In the distance, the sun begins to fall, but the forest does not darken, because the glow of Eywa deepens at dusk. It's her way of saying, I see you. You sit among friends, some tall, some small, some blue, some pale. No one speaks. No one must. Because tonight, Your silence says more than stories ever could. When you return to your home, it is not the same. Not because it has changed, but because you have. You see beauty in the broken clay pot on your shelf, strength in the scar across your Ikran's wing. You hum a song you do not remember learning, yet your body knows every note. You lay on your mat beneath the glowing moss ceiling, and for the first time in cycles, you feel still. Not because the world is safe, but because you belong in it, and it belongs in you. The war is over, but the work has just begun. To mend, to share, to listen, to remember that the forest sings not only of itself, but of all who walk gently through it. Tonight, you dream not of the past, but of what comes next. Of children born knowing both names, theirs and the forest's. Of skies flown not for battle, but for play. Of laughter echoing from stone to star. And when you wake tomorrow, one truth will remain. You're not just Gnostics. You are memory. You are future. You are the song the planet hums in her sleep. Thank you for staying with me until the end of tonight's untold journey. If your eyes are growing heavy and your thoughts are floating like seeds on the wind, I hope you found wonder, peace, and maybe even a little part of yourself on this journey to the heart of Pandora. There's still so many stories left to tell, some hidden in sacred roots, others drifting through the sky, waiting for someone like you to listen. So if this world stirred something in you, consider liking the video or subscribing, not out of habit, but because you want to return. And I'd love to have you here when we explore the next forgotten path. Until then, sleep softly, dream deeply, and may Eywa hold you in her light. Herb.